Well, two different audiences that I'm playing. I'm really excited on many levels. Aries with Whole Being Inc. And I suspect most of the people who are watching, at least on the Hangouts, knows who I am. But for those who are joining on mere first introduction, I am a lifestyle strategist that specializes in being whole. And what today is all about is an opportunity to prepare for the upcoming new moon. And it's moving into Aries, which has a lot of meaning about it. And this is where I get to geek out just a little bit and bring the woo-woo into a practical place. And I wanted to start with a wish that somebody from the Whole Being community shared with me just before we got started. She said, "The warmest light and is sent to us to embrace our souls. May its incandescent forever deliver opulence, love, and peace." So with that, I want to invite you to join me in a journey into the heart. This is just going to be a short little journey. And if you are able to be in a place where interrupted, and if you're able to close your eyes and go into that, I really welcome you to do that. If, however, you're listening to this while you're working or you're driving or you're doing something and it still needs, then just allow yourself to follow along and allow your heart to take in whatever is coming up and be present with that. So with that, go ahead and close your eyes if you can and begin to breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. So inhaling, exhaling. You are blowing through a straw when you exhale. Nose, exhaling through the mouth. One more time like this. See if you can slow it even more. Now just allow yourself to go into the heart space, not necessarily the energy around the heart center, the heart chakra as we call it. And allow yourself to imagine a beautiful spring day. Open the windows to your heating in all of that fresh spring air. Just allow that to begin to invite your highest self to be present. Invite source, invite whatever you believe in and call to it. Bring that energy into the heart. And just feeling into that space, allowing yourself to let that freshness move into the hidden spaces, the dark spaces, the shadowy spaces. There's room for all of it. And as you do this, I invite you to look around and be willing to be surprised by what you find. What qualities are in the heart space that really thirsting for? Maybe deeper connection, maybe it's being seen. That seems to be coming up a lot recently. Maybe it's just to feel safe, to feel accepted, to feel loved. Maybe it's to feel clarity around what you need to be doing now. Maybe it's around a relationship or a job or money. Maybe it's the filling up of that enough feeling. So an abundance. Just allow yourself to feel whatever is in your heart, whatever is coming up. Just allow yourself to recognize and be willing to have those qualities fill your heart. What would it feel like if you were able to drink those qualities in? What would change? What would be different? And as you drink this in, know that room for love, even in the dark spaces, even in those spaces that question that worthiness, or you doubt any abilities or anything. There's room for love. And just feel how that feels as you're present with it, as you hear those words. And I invite you to just take a couple of deep breaths now, in through the nose, through the mouth, like you're blowing through a straw, in through the mouth. One more time, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And I pulled 3 cards for the new moon. So the first one is the Sweat Lodge card. And this is the purification of some aspect in our life, thoughts, beliefs that are really coming up this month that are to be challenged. Why do I think that way? Why do I believe that way? Why do I do this thing when it's keeping me out of alignment with my highest self? And this goes into a concept in yoga and Buddhism called ahimsa, nonviolence in thought, word, and deed. This nonviolence, when we break it down to the most basic level, are your thoughts in alignment with integrity, respect, dignity to yourself? So those thoughts of, you're so stupid, I can't believe you did that, or you to think that you can be great. Who are you to think that you can do this thing that you have a dream about? Worthy? You don't know enough. You're not fill in the blank. Those are the thoughts I'm talking about. Those are the thoughts that serve as barriers from you being able to be yourself, to be able to shine full. When we're willing to challenge those and say, all right, where did those come from? What are those rooted in? You may find that there was a time in your life where when you were shining brightly and beautifully and brilliantly, yeah, I love it. And someone said, oh, don't. Be quiet. You don't know enough. Who are you to think you could do that? Those very thoughts that you tell yourself now, who is the first person that planted those seeds? And as we did in that opening meditation, that with it, and you go into that place and breathe into the heart center and you say, what's there? There is a piece of me that needs to be loved, that needs to be nurtured. There's a piece of me to know that it is safe for me to shine now. And so the encouraging us this coming new month to look at the people and the situations that are preventing us from showing up fully as ourself, as our second card is a goddess card, and this is Ain, and she is all about a leap of faith. Take a risk and follow your heart. It is a huge leap of faith when you have held yourself back for a very long time to finally go into that space of, you know what, I don't know how to do this, but I'm willing to take one inspired action step today. I'm willing to talk to and to tell them what my big dream is and ask them if they know anyone who would be willing to be there with me, who would be willing to show up, who'd be willing to support it, who maybe needs whatever that that dream is. And then our final one is an affirmation card. It is all about it's safe to be successful. It's safe to show up as yourself. It's safe to be vulnerable and to let love in. It is safe at this time, and the most profound way is to be vulnerable with yourself. Allow that love to come into yourself. And I know this is such a bullshit way of looking at it, and people are like, I'm so effing sick of hearing yourself when I don't know how to do that. And I'll share a secret with you. I started doing this to look at the people who loved me, even when I was being a shit, even when my actions, I don't think were worthy of love. I looked at what did they see in me that allowed them to keep loving me. I think I was being lovable. And in those moments, I was able to look at that, focus on those points and build on that. And over time, the more that I allowed myself to see the light side of me versus always looking at, I was able to start building more and more and more of that place where I said, okay, now I get where these thoughts and beliefs are coming from, and now I can start moving into a place of love. So with that, we're really calling to be courageous with ourselves and with those around us to say, here's where I'm really working with fear. Here's where I don't feel worthy. Here's where I want to move forward in my life. But I'm willing to show up. And what I need from you is, as my friend or as my lover, to very gently remind me when I'm stepping back into those, or if I'm having doubt, will you just remind me of something that you see in me that is positive and beautiful and loving, so that I can focus more on that. And so with that, we got just about 15 minutes, and I have the Q&A on with so if anybody has a question, you can type that in. And I have to look on the Meerkat to see if anybody has any questions there, to go ahead and type those in. Otherwise, I'll just kind of keep chatting with you guys about the clarity stuff. So clarity is important in terms of this new moon, because we're being asked to look at what do we really want. And when you're in a place that you're playing small, you're not showing up fully as yourself for whatever reason. There's many reasons why we don't. But when you're in that place, it's really, really hard to be clear about what do you truly want. And I have a friend who shared with me the intention for this new moon, and it started off with, how do I? And I had to laugh and I say, okay, when we go to that place of how do I, we're totally up here and we're not in our heart. So when you shift that and you say, all right, where could I be more present? What steps could I take to be more in alignment with my highest self? What am I needing to surrender in order to be more present for why I'm here in this life right now? And allows the heart to direct the mind, rather than the mind trying to figure it all out and tell everybody where to go and how to get there and what to do. And this is more about the heart saying, hey, I came here to this world with an intention to grow and to experience certain aspects. And I do bring a very unique expression of the energy of love as my gifts, as my skill sets, as the way that I am here to serve and be a piece of that big puzzle that we all have a unique piece in tapestry, if that's another way to look at it. So direct the mind as to what can be surrounded, then has space to grow. So in these new moons, you're planting of what you really, really want, and that you have to really be open to seeing that there's probably even more. Because if you were to just in a small say, oh, my big dream is to do this, the universe is going to bring it to you, and all of the manifestation stuff that we hear all the time, because you're not ready. But in those moments where you say, you know what I think right now, I'm seeing my big dream is this. And what I really want is to be able to be fully present, to be in alignment. So what needs to happen for me to be there? We show up more, because what comes up are these opportunities to love ourselves fully. Take those parts of us that are in the shadows and gently bring them into the welcome them back into our wholeness with love, with compassion. And sometimes they go back in the shadow because they're not ready to be out. And that's okay. There's room for all of this. If there's still anger, if there's still rage, if there's still resentment coming up for why those pieces are in the shadow, good opportunity to allow yourself to feel whatever you feel, because there is room for all of it. You are infinite. So allow yourself to feel it, rather than trying to shove it down as much as you can and then wonder, how come I'm not getting what I want? Well, because there's stuff that's covering up those layers that are trying to bloom. So in those moments, allowing yourself to be present with what's alive in me right now, what's coming up to be healed, what is my heart thirsting for, is can I bring into my life that would allow me to be more present and aligned. That's what the new moon is. So I'd like to encourage you to just take a moment right now and be present with what you really, really want. What you see over the next year in your life? What relationships would you like to see shift? What in your health would you like to see shift? What seeds are you feeling called to plant now? And what do you think would be the most effective and efficient to tend to that garden in your soul? I know I'm using flowery language, I'm sorry, but I look at it because it is spring and we're finally getting to start thinking about putting in a garden where I live. I'm thinking about, I got to get that garden bed ready. I got to get all the weeds out. Then I got to plant the seeds, and then I got to make sure that I keep the deer and the rabbits and all the other critters that live with me off of them. I've got to tend to it and make sure that the soil has the right balance of nutrients. And with sunlight, with water, it grows. Same shit for your own life. Like those qualities that you're planting, that you're growing, you've got to tend to just a little bit. And if there are weeds of doubt, fear, shame, guilt coming up, all the rest of the stuff. So rather than just ripping it out, or oh, I can't feel that, I'm not allowed to feel that, it's not right for me to feel anger, you say, you know what, I'm feeling guilt, I'm feeling anger, and what the roots of that? Where's that coming from? Am I willing to just feel whatever I feel in this moment? Am I willing to say, you know what I'm really mad about is this? And allow yourself to be present enough with it that you could actually make a shift in it. Sometimes there's nothing to do with it other than to allow yourself to feel it, because once you feel it, you have honored and respected yourself, trusted yourself enough to that you really don't have to do anything else. So my old eyes have little print is really hard for me to see on my iPhone, but thank you guys for sharing your comments on Meerkat. Somebody is asking if that's an illustration of, I'm not sure what illustration you're asking about. So if you're still seeing, please let me know if that's what you're asking. And in this new moon, and I'm wearing the stone, I do a new moon reading, and I'm wearing a stone that's going to energy grid. Even if you don't participate in that new moon, I'd like to encourage you to write down, what is it? What are the qualities that you see grow in your life? And what are you feeling called to surrender? And you just make it as a present statement, or I am willing to surrender whatever it is. I am growing, whatever the quality is. And to just take a look at it every day, maybe before you go to bed, when you wake up, and just let go of what could come out of it. Be willing to be surprised by what shows up. On the new moon, or on the full moon, a couple of weeks ago, somebody who did one of the moon card readings, I asked her how the last 2 weeks had gone, and she had shared things, and she said, but I don't really know how that connects to the dots of the reading. And I said, well, your intention was clarity around how you show up in your purpose. And with the 2 weeks, was she received a tremendous amount of courage of stand in her beingness. And that's all about, whether you have somebody like me who's helping you, or if you're just setting these intentions and starting to be present with them. It's all about the awareness of what's alive inside of you, the awareness of what's coming up, and what you're willing to let go of. It's really wanting to be in you, because this is what I really want to leave you all with today. What if you already are perfect? What if there's nothing to change? What if there's nothing left to do? It was more of just of all of those beliefs, all of those habits that have been keeping you in a place of playing small in your light, for fear of not being accepted, of not being loved, of not being safe. What if you allowed yourself to not give a shit about what other people think of you? It's hard for me to get on these videos and to step into my woo-woo. It never was safe when I was growing up to do this. And so now to put myself out there that anyone and everyone, including strangers, can watch this. And I'm just speaking to you from my heart, from my soul, and wisdom is coming through my guides. And I have to keep reminding myself, this is my purpose. So I have to show up if I'm going to live my purpose. What if you today, what other people think? You stop caring what other people think. You stop caring what other people think. Would you most love to show up in the world? Look like? What does it feel like? And for the next 2 weeks, I'm challenging you to do. So I'm going to peek, see if we have any questions on the meerkat. And I'm not seeing any there. I don't have any questions on Hangouts. So I just want to bid you guys love and gratitude. And I'll show you one more time. Sweat Lodge card, the safe to be successful, vulnerable, and let love in. And Ain, who reminds us to take faith. Trust yourself that you are worthy, that you matter, that your purpose is needed in this world right now. And the more that you show up fully, the more you get to show up fully. So infinite love and gratitude. And until next time, you guys.